What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Full 90. Now today I have a special video for you all. It is my FA Cup quarterfinals prediction. Now obviously in the quarterfinals there's only 4 games, so I delved in a little bit deeper to have a quick look at each team's FA Cup run up until this point, see who they're beating, how they're doing, if they're scoring, conceding, what is going on in the FA Cup basically. And then after this we will be having a little bit of an international break, and there are a lot of international fixtures, and they don't really hold that much weight at this point, so I might take the international break as a little bit of a break from the Full 90 as well, because it has been full force for the last couple of months, and obviously my job, my full-time job as an adult, as a human being, is my main YouTube channel, so I do need to focus on that. So this will probably be the last video for a week or two. I might be inspired to do the international break, predictions, but either way, we're here with the FA Cup predictions, and the teams featured are Watford, Palace, Swansea, City, Man City that is, Wolves, Man United, Millwall, and Brighton. And kicking it off, we have Watford versus Crystal Palace. Now, interesting fact for you all, Watford versus Crystal Palace have the exact same scoring and conceding record in the FA Cup, and they're the only two teams remaining in the FA Cup to have not conceded a single goal. So first of all, we'll look at Watford to get to this stage. They beat Woking in the 3rd round, Newcastle in the 4th round, and QPR in the 5th round, scoring 5 and conceding 0. Crystal Palace beat Grimsby in the 3rd round, only by 1-0, but they beat Grimsby. They beat Tottenham in the 4th round and Doncaster in the 5th round. So a similar run of fixtures, really. Crystal Palace also scoring 5 and conceding 0. Now, I would say that Crystal Palace have improved in form lately, but Watford are also very, very good attacking. And it's clear the team that Watford played against Man City on the weekend at the Premier League, that they are saving themselves for the FA Cup. This is their chance to get something. They're way in the Premier League. Obviously, they're like 7th, I think, maybe 8th. And there's no chance of them getting relegated. And maybe they're going to push for European spots should the teams above them do, well in Europe and stuff like that. But I see Watford, they're really going to go for this. This is their chance to get something big. And likewise for Crystal Palace. I would say, Crystal Palace are out of the relegation debate. They've been playing fairly well. But I'm going to go with Watford here. I'm going to go with Watford to win this one 2-1. So both teams can... oh my gosh. Both teams conceding their first goals in the FA Cup, but Watford just being that little bit better on the day, scoring the 2 goals. Troy Deeney and Delafeo's link-up play is absolutely phenomenal. They scored within 20 seconds, an assist for Deeney and a goal for Delafeo after coming on against Man City. I know they were trying to be rested for the FA Cup, but they managed to score within a minute, which was insane. And I think Palace, they've struggled to really take their chances. They've had a really good run of form, and they're slowly starting to drop off a little bit, and I think Watford will just get the edge here, and I think it will see them through to the semi-finals. The next fixture, Swansea versus Manchester City, the 2 most prolific goal scorers left in the FA Cup, believe it or not. Swansea, to get to this stage, beat Aston Villa, Gillingham and Brentford, scoring 11 goals and conceding 2. Manchester City, of course, they've had a very easy run, to be honest, to this stage. They beat Rotherham, Burnley and Newport County, scoring 16 goals and scoring 1. And the 1 goal they scored was against Newport County right near the end. So Swansea, scoring a lot of goals. They scored 3 against Villa, they scored 4 against Brentford and 4 against Gillingham. So 3 goals at least in all of their fixtures, but it's Man City they're playing against, and I've gone for a goal fest. Man City love goals in the FA Cup. Swansea, it's end to end. I'm gonna go for a 5-1 win to Manchester City. I think Swansea, they definitely could have had a chance against maybe a Crystal Palace or Millwall, obviously even Brighton, maybe even Wolves, because the FA Cup competition, it breeds interesting results, that's for sure. There's always sort of upsets, otherwise there'd be Premier League teams throughout this whole tie, and there's not. So I think Swansea could have done well against maybe a couple of other teams, but Man City, who are still looking for that quadruple, they're not going to stand a chance, in my opinion. 5-1 to Manchester City on the day. The next fixture is probably one of the more exciting ones, is Wolves versus Manchester United. Wolves are doing very, very well this season, and they're doing really well at claiming the scalps of the top teams. Now, Wolves, to get to this stage, beat Liverpool in the 3rd round. Shrewsbury, they drew 2-2 and then went to a replay and won that one 3-2. And they beat I think Bristol City. At the time Wolves beat them, Bristol City were the most informed team in Europe. And I'm not making that up. From the previous 10 fixtures, they were the most informed team in the entire continent, which is absolutely mad. Wolves scored 5, excluding the replay, and conceded 3. So, honestly, not a great run for Wolves. I believe it was 2-1 against Liverpool, 2-2 against Shrewsbury, and 1-0 against the informed Bristol City. So, not the best goal difference for them there. Man United, on the other hand, beats Reading. They played terribly in that game, but Reading were just way worse. They beat Reading, they beat Arsenal, and they beat Chelsea, scoring 7 goals and conceding 1. So, Man United go into this with better form than Wolves. Wolves, however, they are playing well in the Premier League. Man United suffered their first league defeat under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer against Arsenal, which of course we predicted over here on the Full 90. I'm going to go for a Manchester United win. It is away from home. Manchester United, excluding that Arsenal result, have been phenomenal away from home. And I think Wolves are going to put up a great fight, because this is Wolves, similar to Watford, it's their only chance to get some silverware. But Manchester United might feel the same. Although they can potentially win the Champions League, as we saw against PSG, anything can happen on any given night. I don't think they're going to win the Champions League. They're obviously not going to win the Premier League. The FA Cup is their chance to go for some silverware. And I'm going to go for a 2-1 away win. I don't know if it's actually away or if it's at a neutral ground or anything. I think it is away. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Manchester United, but like I said in the Chelsea-Wolves game prediction, don't write Wolves off. I think Wolves are a great team. They are going to make it difficult for Manchester United. I think United are just going to do enough to turn up on the day and win 2-1, but I think if there is going to be an upset in these fixtures, I think Wolves qualifying for the semi-finals will be my hot pick for that one. So 2-1 to Manchester United on the day, but this one could be exciting. The final fixture is Millwall versus Brighton. Now, Millwall have had a fairly decent run, obviously, in the FA Cup. They're not doing particularly well in the Championship, but to get here, they beat Hull, Everton, and AFC Wimbledon, scoring 6 goals and conceding 3. So not incredible, but, you know, not too bad either. Brighton, next up, they beat Bournemouth in the 3rd round. West Brom, they drew 0-0 and then beat them 3-1 in the replay. And they managed to beat Derby. So they scored 5 and conceded 2, excluding the replay, which did end in a 3-1 win. Now, I'm going to go for a more clear-cut chance here. I believe it is still home and away at this point. It's not a neutral ground or anything. It is at Millwall. Brighton aren't the best travellers, but I'm still going to go for Brighton to have that touch of class above Millwall. The league difference really showing through in this fixture. I'm going to go for 2-0. Leaving Millwall the only team not to score a goal, in my opinion, in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. So yeah, 2-0 win to Brighton. So that would leave a semi-final of Watford, Manchester City, Man United, and Brighton. And I think it would be great for, you know, Man United to perhaps get Brighton, beat them in a very exciting and entertaining game. Man City get Watford and beat them in a very entertaining and exciting game. And then Man United with it all to do to try and take the FA Cup away from Manchester City to stop them winning the quadruple. I think a City and United final would obviously be everyone's preferred outcome for the final, making it difficult for City, you know, beating Chelsea in the final. They'd have to beat Man United in the final. Champions League, they're going to get someone tough, and Liverpool they have to beat in the Premier League race in order to win the quadruple. So that is going to do it for my FA Cup quarterfinal predictions. Very exciting and very interesting fixtures here, but like I said, Watford, Man City, Man United, and Brighton to qualify to the semi-finals. So that is going to do it for this video. Leave a like on it if you enjoyed, and leave your predictions for the FA Cup down in the comments. Who do you think is going to win the whole thing? What do you think is going to happen? Let me know. Subscribe, turn on the bell so you don't miss a single upload on this channel, and I'll see you in the next video very soon.